Category 4 storm already deadly, tearing through the Caribbean at this hour, Haiti and Jamaica bracing. And then the models that show it coming toward the U.S. States of emergency already declared along parts of the U.S. coast. Also breaking, Donald Trump just moments ago with his answer tonight to the bombshell headline involving his taxes. Reports he might not have paid federal taxes for nearly 20 years. What Trump says now. The outrage tonight over this video, a call to 911 about a suspicious person. The man telling police he was simply waiting for his mother to come home on her porch.
What are you doing?
Then taken down by police. It was his mother's home. The aborted landing, the passenger jet, and the emergency moments before landing. And America celebrating the Ryder Cup. But what's wrong with this picture?
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and we begin tonight with the deadly hurricane on the move, a Category 4, winds reaching 140 miles an hour. Tonight, authorities already issuing warnings right here in the U.S. The hurricane bringing drenching rain, powerful wind gusts, and a dangerous storm surge in the Caribbean. Flash floods already in Jamaica, people struggling to push cars through the fast-rising waters. Across Haiti, warnings of possible devastation to come, and just look at the size of Hurricane Matthew tonight. And from the space station this evening, this image just in, the eye of the storm so perfectly formed there. Ginger Z has the new models here, the possible tracks as this now heads toward the U.S. next. But first, ABC's Lindsay Davis in Haiti.
Tonight, Hurricane Matthew already deadly and closing in on Haiti.
The wind just started to pick up. The rain's getting harder.
Now packing 140-mile-per-hour winds, at one point the strongest Atlantic hurricane in nearly a decade. But it's the storm's slow speed, moving at just 7 miles per hour, that makes it so dangerous. We made our way into Haiti today from the neighboring Dominican Republic. The outer bands are already starting to bring heavy rain, and the worst of the storm is still hours away. Parts of the island could see more than 3 feet of rain, potentially triggering deadly mudslides. Making matters worse, 6 years after the disastrous earthquake of 2010 that left more than 200,000 people dead, more than 50,000 people here are still living in makeshift shelters.
As we know, we're not really prepared for the type of hurricane, but we're doing the best that we can.
And at this orphanage outside of Port-au-Prince, they've boarded up the windows and moved their more than 60 children to the second floor. The storm has already killed at least 4 across the region. In Cuba, the U.S. military has already evacuated 700 military family members from Guantanamo Bay. This man warns residents to evacuate. Long lines are forming for food and supplies. Worshippers at this church pray they'll be spared. And with odds increasing for a landfall in the U.S. later this week, states of emergency have already been declared from Florida to North Carolina.
And we won't gamble with people's lives and the livelihood of many people up and down the coast.
David, the entire region is bracing for what is being described as life-threatening rain. We're talking about potentially 40 inches of rain, which could be devastating for people who are still living here in some homes that are rather fragile, homes that will offer very little protection. It's going to be a long 24 hours ahead, David.
All right, Lindsay, you and the team stay safe tonight. In the meantime, this massive hurricane is going to pass right between Haiti and Cuba, as Lindsay mentioned, and it will pass just to the east of Jamaica, where they're taking no chances either tonight. ABC's Gio Benitez is in Kingston.
Tonight in Jamaica, time is running out for last-minute preparations as Hurricane Matthew passes close to the island of 3 million people.
This particular hurricane, by virtue of its trajectory, will have a severe impact on Jamaica.
And we're already seeing a preview. Cars stuck in high water after a quick-passing outer band hit this island. The big concern tonight, flooding. The other concern, tornadoes. This waterspout spotted right off the beach on the southern part of the island. In Kingston, streets are empty. This as the U.S. State Department urges all Americans to get off these Caribbean islands now, fearing it could soon be too late.
And David, just take a look. Here in Kingston, Jamaica, we are seeing some powerful and dangerous surf. And even though this island may be spared the brunt of the storm, we're still looking at the possibility of tropical storm force winds and even a foot of rain. David.
All right, Gio and Lindsay, both in the storm zone tonight. Our thanks to you both. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z, who is tracking this for us. And where is this right now?
Right. The slow mover is now 225 miles south and west of Port-au-Prince. So it is Haiti that is in the immediate and really frightening threat tonight. It is overnight into Cuba tomorrow, then the Bahamas eventually as we get into Wednesday. That's the timing there as we move out of the islands. And I wanted to go through it here, the forecast. Tuesday, 4 a.m., that center passes that southwestern portion. That's where we were talking about the isolated amounts of 40-plus inches life-threatening rain. Eastern Cuba gets it tomorrow as the center passes over. Lots of warm water, plenty of energy to get into and now west of the Bahamas, and that's where we're concerned, David. This track, the latest official from the National Hurricane Center, has shifted to the west, and although there is a large margin of error when we get to day 4 and day 5, this is a big deal because it now encompasses Miami to Jacksonville, Charlotte, Charleston, Wilmington, and I think a lot of the computer models, those spaghetti plots that, David, you and I were talking about, steering from the high pressure system, the cold front trying to push it out, the two computer models long range that we look at and you've heard of, the European and the American, both take it close to or landfall in North Carolina by this weekend and then start to diverge. Much bigger impact from the American model by Monday into New England.
All right, tracking this for several days ahead. Ginger Z, our thanks to you tonight. In the meantime, we turn next this evening to major developments in the race for the White House. Donald Trump just moments ago addressing the bombshell headline about his taxes. What he's saying now about reports he might not have paid federal income taxes for nearly 20 years. And it comes amid new polls just out tonight nationally. Hillary Clinton, after the first debate now at 47 to Donald Trump's 42. And in the key battlegrounds in Florida tonight, Clinton moving up there, 46% to Trump's 41. They were tied there last month. In Pennsylvania tonight, Clinton at 45, Trump 41. No real change there. And in North Carolina, another key battleground, Clinton 46, Trump 43. But in Ohio tonight, the most welcome headline for Donald Trump. He is ahead there at 47 to Clinton's 42%. ABC's Tom Yamas on Trump's reaction a short time ago on his taxes.
Tonight, Donald Trump praising himself after that front page story revealed he may not have paid federal income taxes for nearly 20 years.
I have legally used the tax laws to my benefit and to the benefit of my company, my investors, and my employees. I mean, honestly, I have brilliantly used those laws.
This latest drama began when the New York Times obtained part of Trump's 1995 personal tax return, showing in just 1 year, Trump claimed a $916 million loss. Under the law, that would have allowed him to avoid paying federal income tax for nearly 20 years. The documents arrived in the mailbox of a Times reporter in a mysterious manila envelope. No name, just a Trump Tower return address. The Trump campaign learned about it on Saturday. That night, as the story went up online, Trump took the stage in Philadelphia.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
And without citing any evidence, saying this.
I don't even think she's loyal to Bill. You want to know the truth. And really, folks, really, why should she be, right?
But as he spoke, the story of his taxes exploding. SNL soon taking aim.
He hasn't released his tax returns, which means he's either not that rich,
Wrong.
not that charitable,
Wrong.
or he's never paid taxes in his life.
Warmer.
In the past, Trump has complained that not everyone pays their fair share.
That's the amazing thing, is that half of the country is paying nothing, zero. And even if you don't make a lot, you should have to pay something, just something, to be a part of the game.
He's also zeroed in on the rich, tweeting, "The hedge fund guys, gals have to pay higher taxes ASAP. They are paying practically nothing." But tonight, Trump won't confirm or deny whether he paid any federal income taxes in the past 20 years.
I was able to use the tax laws of this country and my business acumen to dig out of the real estate mess. Few others were able to do what I did.
And Trump facing another controversy tonight involving his fortune. New York's Attorney General sending a cease and desist letter barring Trump's charitable foundation from raising money in New York, saying it was not registered to do so. That same Attorney General, a Democrat, is investigating whether Trump used charitable donations from the foundation to settle lawsuits against his businesses and buy himself gifts. The campaign tonight blasting that attorney general's, quote, political motives.
And Tom Llamas with us live outside Trump Tower tonight. And Tom, we heard no denials from Donald Trump to the reporting in the New York Times about him not paying federal income taxes for nearly 20 years. So what does the campaign say tonight to those who might ask, why not just release the returns then and move past this?
Well, David, tonight we put in a formal request with the campaign. They told us, quote, Mr. Trump is under audit. Now, in the past, Trump has said since he's under audit, he's been advised not to release his tax returns, but nothing legally is preventing him from doing so. David?
Tom Llamas with us again tonight. Tom, thank you. And the best news for Trump tonight, that new battleground poll in Ohio that has him leading there, which is why Hillary Clinton is there. So is ABC's Cecilia Vega.
In Ohio today, it seemed like Hillary Clinton couldn't wait to get in front of the microphone and rip into Donald Trump.
Toledo is the kind of place where people work hard, look after one another, and yes, pay their taxes, right?
Here in the battleground, Trump is winning, Clinton not letting up.
Here's my question. What kind of genius loses $1 billion in a single year?
But Clinton now facing heat herself over leaked comments she made back in February during a closed-door fundraiser about young Bernie Sanders supporters.
They're children of the Great Recession, and they are living in their parents' basement. They feel that they got their education, and the jobs that are available to them are not at all what they envisioned for themselves, and they don't see much of a future.
Trump says Clinton was being nasty to Sanders supporters, but her old rival coming to her defense.
What she was saying there is absolutely correct.
With the next debate just 6 days away, Clinton hoping for a repeat of the first one, now fodder for SNL.
My microphone is broken. She broke it with Obama. She and Obama stole my microphone. They took it to Kenya. They took my microphone to Kenya and they broke it, and now it's broken.
Secretary Clinton, what do you think about that?
I think I'm going to be president.
The real-life Hillary Clinton today all smiles, raising a fist in the air, celebrating an endorsement from one of Ohio's most famous sons, LeBron James. The NBA superstar writing, "We need a president who brings us together and keeps us unified. Policies and ideas that divide us more are not the solution."
And Cecilia Vega joining us live from Akron, Ohio. And tomorrow night, Cecilia, we all know the VP debate. And what are you learning tonight from your sources on both sides about the stakes here?
Well, David, Tim Kaine needs to basically debate two men tomorrow night, Mike Pence and Donald Trump. For Mike Pence, though, the pressure is really on to overcome Donald Trump's performance in that last debate. Most Americans say he lost it. Mike Pence tomorrow, David, needs to come out swinging.
Cecilia Vega live in Ohio. Cecilia, thank you. And tomorrow night, right here, you can see the VP debate on ABC, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then on Sunday, the second presidential debate, just 6 days away now, co-moderated by our own Martha Raddatz. Of course, we'll have full team coverage and the debate right here on ABC. Overseas tonight, and a sharp break in relations between Russia and the U.S. tonight. The U.S. announcing the end of talks over Syria. The State Department saying Russia failed to live up to its commitments during the ceasefire there last month. That announcement just after Russian President Vladimir Putin said he is scrapping a key nuclear arms control deal, backing out of a promise to destroy weapons-grade plutonium because of, quote, unfriendly acts by Washington. And from Paris tonight, a brazen robbery netting the thieves millions of dollars in jewels. It happened in the middle of the night, the robbery leaving reality TV star Kim Kardashian tied up, shaken, but okay. ABC's Alex Marquardt from Paris.
Tonight, Paris police hunting for the daring gang they say stole more than $10 million in jewels. It's the time of year when the fashion world flocks to Paris and security is heightened. The Kardashian sisters seen all over town with their security, even showing off some of that famous jewelry. After a Sunday night event, Kim Kardashian was home in her rented luxury apartment. Her bodyguard reportedly not there.
The hotel that Kardashian chose for Paris Fashion Week wasn't one of the city's big famous hotels, but rather this much more discreet one with its private apartments known for its exclusivity and long list of celebrity clients.
At 2:30 a.m., 5 people dressed in police uniforms entered the hotel. Authorities tell ABC News 2 of them got into Kardashian's apartment, where they bound and gagged her and held a gun to her head before escaping. Kardashian's husband, Kanye West, was on stage in New York City when he learned of the ordeal.
I'm sorry, this is a family emergency. I have to stop the show.
The stolen loot included a $4.5 million ring. Kardashian tonight back in New York. Her representative telling ABC News, quote, she is badly shaken but physically unharmed.
Tonight, there's no sign of the thieves or the jewels, which experts say by now could be broken up into pieces and sold off individually. David?
Alex Marquardt in Paris tonight. Alex, thank you. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Monday. The outrage over video just released. The black man taken down by police while he was sitting on his own mother's porch. Officers responding to a 911 call about a suspicious person. The man telling police he was waiting for his mother. You will see the confrontation and the fallout tonight. Also, the new headline this evening about the late Robin Williams, the new and emotional message from his widow. And then the aborted landing, the passenger jet battling powerful crosswinds, the big scare just moments before the jet was about to land, what the pilot is then forced to do.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd.